So I got rid of my favorite handbag, and I know how that sounds. It probably sounds
nutty.
like it's your favorite handbag. It's like you love it. Why would you get rid of it? So we're going to chat. We're going to talk about that in today's video. So we're going to get into what happened really with the handbag, how I got rid of it, and I also want to talk about like what I learned from this experience and what you can learn to kind of like help you avoid handbag buying mistakes. So in January of 2020, I got my hands on this ridiculously stunning medium Saint Laurent Loulou bag. And if you've seen any of my content before here on my channel or on my blog, you'll know that I have a full review on this bag. I unboxed it and I talked a lot about how it was literally like the most gorgeous handbag I've ever seen. And even if you were to ask me up until like a week ago, what I think is the most beautiful handbag that I own, that Saint Laurent Loulou is probably in, it definitely was in like the top two. So what happened? Well, I got this bag in January of 2020 and I was at Nordstrom and I already knew that I wanted this specific colorway. I absolutely love the beige gold color. And the only thing I was kind of unsure about was the sizing. I was between the small and the medium Loulou. I had heard that the toy was a little bit too small and didn't fit a lot of things, so I was pretty sure I was going to get the small or the medium size. Ultimately, as you know, as I've already told you, I ended up going with the medium because it was only like a $250 difference. And so if you're already spending that much money on a bag, it just kind of made sense to go a little bit bigger. I reasoned that this way I could carry my iPad with me if I wanted to. It could even fit a small water bottle if I wanted to. And I did not have a shoulder bag of this size. When I looked at this bag, it made me think of girls were carrying like bigger Chanel bags. And I don't have a Chanel shoulder bag. And I thought, okay, like this can be kind of comparable to that size, but more in line with like my budget and my aesthetic and what I'm going for. So that's kind of what led me to that purchase. Fast forward maybe 6 to 9 months later, and I realized that I just wasn't using it. And the obvious answer was, okay, well, we're in a global pandemic and I'm not leaving the house very often. Like, where am I going to wear a Saint Laurent Loulou to when I'm at home filming TikTok videos and wearing joggers, right? Like that doesn't make any sense. So I obviously held on to it for a little bit longer, thinking that things were going to turn around and I was going to start using it more often. But the thing is that I just found myself never using this bag. Even though I loved it and it was beautiful and aesthetically, I could just look at it, I find myself literally gravitating towards this bag at all. A couple things I think that stopped me from doing so is that, for one, I found it a little bit heavy. Like, I decided to go for the bigger bag and it ended up being a little bit heavier than what I'm used to. And I think that after having kids and carrying around diaper bags and lugging around all their stuff and having like the big Neverfull and carrying so many things with you, all I want to carry are like really small bags. On a daily basis, I'm always in like my Gucci Marmont or my Gucci Soho or a belt bag. Like, that's just what I carry because I'm probably running to the grocery store or running errands or going to a birthday party or something. Like, I'm just not really using a large size bag unless I'm traveling. And then for that, I'm going to use one of my totes, like the Reef Gauche tote, because that's like the travel bag. I just realized that it was just a little bit larger than I wanted. Another thing that kind of bothered me about this bag is that I felt like the strap length was kind of awkward. So I'm 5'4.5" for reference, and it would hit different people, it might hit different people at different places. But like for me, when I was wearing it on the one strap, it would hit me kind of like mid, like almost at my thighs. Like, it was actually really quite long. So I'd have to double up the strap to wear it a little bit shorter. Now, the thing is that when you're wearing it like on the double strap, then instead of being like this, your arm ends up being extended because it's like a padded, thick bag. So I felt like that was just not, it wasn't like exactly the look I was going for. Granted, I know that you can do hacks like knot it on the inside and that it's going to be different for everybody. I'm just sharing, some of the reasons that went behind my thought process of why I'm not wearing this bag and why it's like not really working for me. So I decided to get rid of it, not once, but twice. I went down the rabbit hole sometime last year on trying to get rid of it. I almost sold it to someone on Instagram, and ultimately it just didn't work out. So I did another attempt at getting rid of it. So this time I thought, let me take this a little bit more seriously. The bag has gone up significantly since I purchased it. At the time, in 2020, by the way, I purchased this bag, I think it was $21.50 was the price. And now it retails for like $3,200, which is like a huge price difference. So I got a quote from Fashionphile, and I'll show you all the pictures, of course. My bag was literally like in pristine condition. I think I carried it just a handful of times, stickers on it and everything. And I knew I was gonna get a low quote, and I'll just share with you. It was a quote for $1,300, which I knew that then they were gonna relist on their website for over $2,000, but this was an easy buyout quote, right? This was a way for me to package it up and have no hassle, and then I'd be able to buy another bag. And honestly, my entire plan was to just swap it out for the small or the toy size. Like, I just think I love this bag so much, I may as well just swap it out for the smaller size. I wasn't super happy with the quote, so I decided to try Facebook, which made me extremely nervous, but I got some tips from the Bag Chat Facebook group about how to sell on Facebook. So I went into a Facebook group and I started chatting with somebody, and I almost got scammed out of selling my bag, you guys. I almost got scammed out of a lot of money, and it was really scary. And I don't want to get into too much detail on exactly what happened, but let's just say, trust your gut, go with your gut feeling. Like, alarm bells were going off in my head during our conversation, and I just totally panicked. And I'm like, you know what? No, this is not going to happen. This feels like a red flag. Like, there's too many things that just don't add up. So I decided not to do that. And let me just tell you, never underestimate your gut feeling or your intuition. And if you feel safer not doing the Facebook thing, then by all means, I feel like you could take advantage of places like Fashionphile or The Real, which they also gave me a quote, by the way, and, you know, do a buyout, and then you're done with it. You can move on to the next thing and not be carrying a handbag that you don't love, or just letting it sit there and collect dust. So my last attempt to get rid of it, I actually did not end up going with Fashionphile. Spoiler alert. I was chatting with someone else on Facebook who made me an offer, and she asked me where I purchased it from. And I told her that I had purchased it at Nordstrom, and I'm not saying go out and do what happened next, but she said to go take it back to Nordstrom. And I was like, but why? I was totally going to sell her this bag, and I had it ready to go in a box and everything. And she said that they have a really good return policy and that I should just give it a try, especially since my plan was just to exchange it. And it just like never occurred to me to do that. And I did. And I'm not saying go return your bags to Nordstrom, you guys, but I am just ecstatic with the customer service. I took it back to Nordstrom. Granted, my purse, like I said, was in excellent condition. I literally used it like 2 times, and that's what I did. I returned it to Nordstrom. I exchanged it for something else, which I will have to unbox in a later video, and I am very excited about, and it definitely gave me like all the feels, but more on that later. I just had to give you this pro tip and share at least that good part of the story, that I almost sold my bag for at least $1,000 less than what I paid for it. And I would have lost so much money if I had sold it on Facebook Marketplace. It didn't even occur to me to just exchange it at Nordstrom, and I really didn't lose anything at all. Now, the one thing that I did kind of lose or gain, I guess, is just some more knowledge and some tips I wanted to share with you on how to avoid any like handbag buying mistakes. I do have a specific handbag buying mistakes video. I will link that here and down below for you to check it out. Obviously, I had it top of mind because I was going through the whole emotions of trying to sell this one. A couple things I wanted to share that in retrospect were like signs that this bag wasn't right for me that I may have missed, and I just want to share with you so that you don't miss and it doesn't happen to you. The first is the size was obviously wrong for me and my body type. And that's kind of what bothered me, is that I felt like the bag like overwhelmed my frame a little bit. And there's an influencer who I watch here on YouTube, and she had the same size that I do, and I love it on her. She styles it with so many outfits, and I think I just had that in my head when I was purchasing the bag. Well, the difference is that I think she's like 5'8" or 5'9", and I'm 5'4". I think there's a half an inch there maybe. So that's a pretty big height difference of how the bag is going to look on my frame and my body type versus her. It's always something you should keep in mind. And I know that, like in my gut, I know that, but I still kind of like went against that knowledge and proceeded to buy the bag when it just wasn't really right for my size. Another thing that I think I kind of ignored is that the reality is I was trying to check a box of a bag that I thought that I needed. Like I was thinking, oh, these girls have, like I said, that big Chanel shoulder bag, and not thinking about like what actually fits my everyday lifestyle. And in my everyday lifestyle, I don't really need a big glamorous shoulder bag like that. It's not something that I'd use very often, if at all. I work from home. I have 2 kids. I like the Loulou, but I just think overall the size was totally wrong for me, and there were definitely some signs that I should have seen before. Now, I literally cannot wait to unbox the bag that I got instead and that I exchanged it for. So make sure that you are subscribed and hit the like button so that you don't miss that next video, because it's so beautiful and I can't wait to share that with you. So I hope this video was at least informative and helpful and educational to kind of share like what happened and maybe some mistakes that you can avoid. And I will link you over here to some more luxury handbag videos. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.